Hey guys, Sinza here, and welcome to another Shadowlands beta video. In this video, I'm going to be going over the different Warlock Legendaries that they have. I'm currently using one right now that increases the damage of either Drain Soul or Shadow Bolt whenever you use Malefic Rapture. You got to make sure you have enough Soul Shards to keep it up, but it stacks up to 3 times. So basically, starting with the Affliction Legendaries, this one will every time you use Malefic Rapture, it'll increase the damage of Drain Soul by 25% for 8 seconds, and it'll stack up to 3 times. So, and it doesn't go away. It literally lasts the entire time until the time runs out. So you can just keep using Drain Soul or Shadow Bolt, and then Malefic Rapture before it runs out, and keep that 75% bonus up. So that's a pretty strong single target damage increase. So for the other ones, we have targets that die, or targets with your agony. When they die, they'll give you Wrath of Consumption, and that increases all periodic damage dealt by 5% for 20 seconds, and it stacks up to 5 times. So that's a pretty good one for AoE in situations where you're going to be fighting multiple targets and they're dying. You'll be able to, keep your periodic damage up. So that's actually good for even strong single target fights that have ads around, so you can keep your dots and stuff on the main target, kill the ads, and then you'll be able to get a big bonus to your all your damage. The other one is one from Legion. Corruption damage is increased by 15%, and then any target affected by your corruption will also have their movement speed slowed. So that one is it's a pretty decent one. It's really good for like AoE as well, especially if you have the absolute corruption for like cleave fights, especially is one of the best ones to use because you can pick absolute corruption to make it permanent. That gives it 15% plus another 15%, and then slow them down. So it's a good one to come back. I already showed you the Malefic Rapture one, increasing Drain Soul or Shadow Bolt, because I have Drain Soul, so if you didn't, it would be Shadow Bolt. And then finally, Agni will have a 20% increased chance to generate a Soul Shard. So that's a decent one to use for single target or AoE. Obviously, you'll get more benefit out of it in AoE because the more Agonies you have, the more chance you have to generate a Soul Shard. So now going to Demonology, and Demonology has some pretty decent ones. The first one is this AoE one. When Implosion damages at least 3 targets, you'll get 5% haste for 8 seconds for each imp that's exploded. So that's a lot of extra haste you can get, and that's good. That's a good AoE one, and you can get that bonus even easier than the Affliction one, because this one just needs to hit targets. So especially in like council fights or just fights where you're gonna have constant 3 targets up at any given time, that's a big haste bonus to give you single target or AoE damage increase. And then we have Hand of Gul'dan, has a 15% chance to cast a second time on your target for free, so it's literally just 2 Hands of Gul'dan at once, so that's always good. Each soul shard spent on Hand of Gul'dan will increase the damage of your next Call Dreadstalkers by 3%. I believe it's only 3 soul shards max that you can use. So it's a 9% damage increase for your next Dreadstalker, so a pretty decent single target boost. And then finally, Shadow Bolt increased the damage of your next Demon Bolt by 25%, stacking up to 4 times. Another strong single target boost. So yeah, Demonology has some pretty good ones here, I think. Now for Destruction, this is one that I think will be pretty good. Chaos Bolt will increase the damage of Chaos Bolt by 10% and reduce the cast time of Chaos Bolt by 10% for 3 seconds. So it's a kind of a short amount of time, but it makes Chaos Bolt stronger and faster. And then enemies marked by your Havoc take 15% increased damage from your single target spells. It makes their very strong Havoc spell, their Cleave spell, even stronger. So definitely one to use for any type of council fight or fight that's going to have a constant 2 targets, priority targets. Incinerate now generates 100% additional soul shard fragments, so you'll get more soul shards basically. And then Conflagrate has an additional charge and has its recharge time reduced by 3 seconds. That's always a fun one to use to be able to get more Conflagrates out. And then finally, for the general Warlock Legendaries. Every soul shard. Now this one will change depending on your spec. So I'll show you after changing specs. Every soul shard you spend reduces the cooldown of summon Dark Glare by 1 second, which is the Affliction, the big Affliction cooldown. And so if I switch to Demonology, you'll see that the text changes, but the effect itself is still the same. Every soul shard will reduce the cooldown, and then for this one is summon demonic tyrant for zero point 0.3 seconds. So the time's a little bit different depending on the cooldown, because they have different cooldown times. And then for destruction, that'll change again to I think it's the infernal. Yeah, the summon infernal by 2 seconds, because that's a much longer cooldown, 3 minutes. So pretty decent if you need to get your cooldown faster. And then we have Drain Life, now deals damage and restores health faster. So it's just, yeah, it's a faster drain life basically. So it's a decent like defensive cooldown. Basically, well, not defensive cooldown, but just like defensive legendary. And also, if you have, I can't remember which covenant it was, but there's a covenant that makes Drain Life stronger. So that could be a pretty decent one if you picked that covenant. And we don't have the conduits yet, so there could be some conduits that affect Drain Life as well. So this could actually be a pretty decent one. Could turn into a decently strong, both defensive and offensive legendary. And then we have Chaos Bolt, has a chance to refund all soul shards spent. Of course, that changes depending on the spec. So for destruction, it's Chaos Bolt. And I actually don't remember what it is for the other two specs, but it's a certain spell for each spec. So yeah, Dreadstalkers has a 25% chance to refund all soul shards spent. So it just depends on whatever spec it is. You get a chance to get your soul shards back. And finally, the favorite demonic gateway being instant cast, and the first use does not trigger this cooldown. This was one that was used a lot in Legion. A lot of people really like this one, and I like it too, because it just gives you an instant. Let's go ahead and show it real quick. Whoops. Literally instant cast, and you don't get the cooldown. Well, yeah, it shows it on there, but it you don't have. So you have the debuff, but the first one won't actually count. But yeah, that's really good. The difference is though, unlike in Legion, see in Legion you could have two legendaries. In this one you can only have one, so I don't know. It's a lot of some of these legendaries are like they're really nice, but with you only being able to equip one, some legendaries would probably not get used otherwise. Like if you could have equipped two like before, but this could still be a pretty decent one. But especially since you can choose which ones you have now, I definitely feel like there will be ones that you just probably not going to use. But there could definitely be fights where that instant cast demonic gateway is definitely going to be helpful. So those are all the legendaries for Warlock. If you liked the video, please give a like and subscribe for future videos. And as always, thanks for watching.